Here and Now, the program featuring the news and interests of the African American community. Here's your host, Sandra Bookman.
Coming up, domestic violence in the Black community, how WARM, We All Really Matter, is addressing the issue here. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. In the U.S., an average of 24 people per minute are victims. That, according to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Here in our area, We All Really Matter, also known as WARM, is an organization on the front lines of this growing problem. Joining us to tell us more is survivor turned CEO and founder of WARM, Stephanie McGraw. Nice to see you again.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
You're still doing this life-saving work. We've talked with you before.
Yes.
If you don't mind, fill us in on how it is that you came to found WARM. Why is this a cause so close to your heart?
Thank you for asking. You know, I grew up in domestic violence. I've witnessed my father abusing my mother, but at the time I didn't know what it was. So throughout my life, when I became an adult, I just went into what I saw, not what I wanted. Mm-hmm. And then I started experiencing being in an abusive relationship because I was a child that didn't get my needs met and didn't understand how it felt to be safe in the world. So I only repeated what I saw, and that's what I saw, and that's what I was attracted to.
And how long were you in that relationship, and what led you to say, I got to get out of here?
Well, thank you. You know, I can say all of my relationships up until now, 15 years ago, were all kind of unhealthy because I was an unhealthy individual. So I take ownership to that, and that's what made me want to do something different with my life. And when I found myself brutally beaten by my ex-boyfriend and wind up in a hospital, I knew that I had to do something. Right? And that was the turning point of something needs to change with your life because it was just too painful, and the pain started outweighing all the pleasure, and nothing else was working.
And I know you gave birth,
yes.
And I guess you decided you didn't want your children to have that experience that you had had.
Mm-hmm. I gave birth to WARM in 2020. I gave birth to WARM in 2006, mm-hmm. And I knew that. When I went away to the battered women's shelter upstate, when I came back, that it was something that I needed to do because I didn't want women in my community to go through and experience what I had went through all my life. And it's such a, shun thing, don't talk about it, it's okay. And I wanted to make a difference in my marginalized and underserved community because at the time, I didn't see any lived experience. I didn't see women that looked like me. I didn't see cultural competency organizations and people on the front line that was dealing with this, and I created it.
Okay, so WARM, 14 years now.
14 years
You've
now.
You've been doing
yes.
this work. How many women would you estimate that you've been able to help change their lives?
Well, we've helped 205 women with intimate danger because we work with NYPD. So at mm-hmm. night we have the police bringing women to our center and children. We have given out 12,320 wellness packages. We've given out 583,000 meals during the pandemic, thanks to Andreas from World Central Kitchen. Mm-hmm. We collaborated with him, and we were able to do that. We gave out 255,000 PPEs. This is all through mm-hmm. the pandemic and now. And so we have helped thousands of women. Yes.
How does that make you feel?
I am so spiritually gratifying. I'm so grateful, and I thank God every day that I get to use my life as a classroom, and I get to use this pain to help another woman gain and to be able to come to her own understanding of it's okay to heal. Mm-hmm. It's okay. So it's so gratifying that something so ugly that happened to me, and now I get to take my this stigma that mm-hmm. we don't like to talk about a lot of times in our community, and I get to use it to help other women.
So I know that you've got a full slate of events planned for October, but before we get to that list of some of those events, talk to me about the services that you offer to women. What do you find when they come to you that you've managed to get them, out of immediate danger? What do you do? What are you able to provide for them?
So once we're able to get them out of immediate danger, and a lot of times we lived our own lived experience to pull women out of the danger sometimes. We've been through it, so we understand where she is at that time. But as soon as we get women out, I personally walked New York City streets to connect with some of these hotels and asking them, please, is it okay that we can get some rooms set aside with codes so when there's an emergency, we can get women out and get them to a hotel? And then that process, once we get them into our center the next day, we start with the wellness package. We have a whole complete store. We have a center where we offer personal items, washcloths and diapers and soap and toothpaste. But the main thing is getting them to safety, because once you get a woman to safety and her children, they're able to start now looking at their lives. So we also offer wraparound services, whether it's public assistance, whether it's going through the courts, whether it's getting order protection. But most of all, we're navigators. We help women walk through their steps, because that's just what I wanted when I was in that situation. I wanted somebody to just walk with me. Someone
walk you through the process.
Walk me, and I didn't have that. So I had to navigate it all on my own. So I want to be able to give women something I didn't have.
Okay. So, and you are that support you didn't have. You give it to other women.
Exactly.
And I know that part of your program is you offer some prevention services as well.
Yes, we do. We do a lot of that, because what I want to say, Sandra, from my own lived experience as a young Black girl growing up in one of the poor neighborhoods, lack of education, sometimes lack of food, there was no identification. Like, Stephanie, this is domestic violence. And where I grew up at, they said, we just don't talk about our stuff. Black people, what happened in the house, stay in the house. So it was important to me, because after I went through therapy, and I promote it now, sister girl, get yourself some help. It's one of the greatest gifts you can give to yourself. So I created a school, a curriculum that helped women get to their pain. It's trauma and PTSD, because I had to go in trauma therapy and get to my PTSD. And then we created a curriculum for women. It's called Love Shouldn't Hurt, like inner work for outer change. And it has been so successful. We run these courses 4 times a year, 2 12 weeks and 2 8-week trauma. Some powerful, dynamic women. But these women get an opportunity to graduate. We bring them all together, they share their stories, and then they go out and they're ambassadors, because we plant deep seeds of life. So it's so amazing.
And I said you've got a full slate of events
in
October.
Yes.
And we're going to give the website before we go and let folks know, because they'll be able to get a list of these events. I mean, just some of the things you have. You've got something at Lincoln Hospital, an awareness event on October 15th. NYC Go Purple Day to mark and call attention to Domestic Violence Month. And I know one of the things that is so near and dear to your heart is the Love on the Block event, which is October 19th. Explain to us what that is.
Love on the Block is simply what it says. We're bringing love to the block, because when I grew up in my housing projects, I didn't see bouncy house, cotton candy, popcorn. I didn't see characters. I saw criminal characters, excuse me, but that's my story. But I didn't see that kind of love and togetherness and women coming out with their children and feeling safe. And we have the bouncy house, and we have the face paint, and we have hot dogs and burgers. All of this is free. And one of my most gratifying things that we bring to Love on the Block is the clothes. Because my mother, I grew up in a household with 9 children. My mother didn't have a lot of times. Sometimes we didn't even have food. So I understand that kind of pain, because hunger is violence too at times, right? But when you don't have the proper clothing, we bring out over 2,000 items of clothing, and women and children and men get an opportunity to shop on the block and everything free. So anybody got any donations, any clothes, bring them on through.
And you mentioned, look, everything is free to participants.
Everything. The food is free, everything.
But you guys need support. And I know you have a fundraiser on October 24th scheduled.
Yes.
Because you're able to do all that you do, I guess, through the generosity of some other folks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're so honored that, you know, we get to serve, because it's about live, love, and serve. It's about, I get to use my life now as a classroom and say, there's no shame of what happened to me. The only shame is not talking about it, because we know that silence hides violence. And this book I have here is a book of all women that have lost their lives due to domestic violence.
Are these women that you've worked with, or just in the city that you know?
They're women that were in the city, because we partner with NYPD. When there's a homicide, they call us. So we go out, we offer the $6,000 from the state, we offer grief counseling, but most of all, we get an opportunity to go into the community and say, it's okay to heal healthy. You don't have to bring out the alcohol, the drugs, and the guns to solve this. We can heal in a healthy kind of way. And then we get an opportunity to bring awareness. We can prevent this, hear all the services. Because what I do want to say to you is that 15 years ago, when I was going through my trauma, my domestic violence with one of my abusers, because I went on to marry another abuser, but however, I didn't know how dangerous it was when women are trying to leave. Every single last one of these women were trying to leave. But because of lack of education and awareness
and support.
So I didn't know when I was telling them I'm leaving, and when I told him I was leaving, he came after me. So my job now is to teach women the danger and how to ease your mouth out that lion's.
How to exit.
Not snatch it out, but, you know, ease on out in a healthy, safe kind of way. So that's what I learned from my experience in helping other women.
The organization is WARM.
Yes.
We All Really Matter is the organization.
We do.
WeAlreadyMatter.org is the website. There's a long list of events scheduled, most of them free. So please, if you have a chance, go to the website, take a look at those events. If you need the help, you can get it there. If you just want to be a help, you can donate to WARM. Thank you so much for joining us again.
I'm so honored to be here.
You're doing important work, and anybody talking to you can tell that this is your life's work, because as you said it, you have lived this.
I have.
Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Thank you.